Okay, so in this how-to, we're going to learn how to lace a wheel. And what you'll need is a hub, a rim, spokes, nipples, spoke wrench, and I use a flathead screwdriver. And of course, some fresh beat-off masturbation material. To get started, you're going to want to hold the hub like this and just drop a spoke in. It really doesn't matter where. Typically on used hubs, I will try and find a spot that already had a spoke dug into it on the other side, because you're going to want to drop this one in, but it doesn't really matter. Next, you're going to want to put the spoke through a spoke hole, a nipple hole, whichever, directly to the left of the valve, the one that would be closer to the left side. Like, see the holes right here? You're going to want it to be on this one, because this one's closer to that side, unless of course it's cross-laced, but that's a whole different story. And then just screw the nipple on by hand, finger, whatever, about 3 turns. That's usually good to start with. Now for the next spoke, just skip a hole, skip, and then drop another spoke in. And then you're going to go, I'm trying to show you, from this spoke that you just did, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then, bloop. Sorry, it's kind of hard to lace a wheel with one hand trying to film it, but there you'll see you skipped 3 in the middle, and you're going to want, again, the one, as you can see, sort of more on the left. As you can see, it's starting to take shape. You just follow that pattern. Go put spoke there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And just do that all the way around, and always count your turns. You want to screw the nipple on 3 finger turns. Makes it easy in the long run. When you're done, it should look like this. Take a quick moment to beat your meat, and we'll get started on the next part. This next step is a little tricky. You're going to want to find the valve and the spoke you first started with. You're going to go all the way down here, and this is really hard to see, but the spoke hole right where my finger is, you're going to want to see this one and this one, but you're going to want to do it, you're going to want to drop a spoke in to the right, the one on the right. Basically, you're just going to have to eye it up, and it's really hard for me to show. You can kind of see right here the nipple you first dropped in. You're going to want to drop the next spoke on the other side on the rightmost side. So this one, and then put it through the spoke hole and put your nipple on. This time around, it's a little easier. As you can see, all you do is just, you can count the holes, but you just basically just put the spokes on this side, 1 spoke hole ahead of the ones you just did. So as you can see, these 2 right here are right in front of the 2 we first did. Do that, and your wheel should look like this when you're done. Now let's get started on the next part, which is the spokes that rest outside of the hub. This is the side we just did. This is the side we first did. Now what you're going to want to do is, with it sitting like this, with the side that you just did pointing to you, you're going to want to drop a spoke in on the other side start the outer spokes. Just like that. Now, this is a bit awkward of an angle, but it's really all I can do to show you. You're going to hold the hub, and you're going to do this. Just turn it. You're going to want to turn it. See the valve? I'll try and show you. The valve's here, hub's here. You're going to want to turn it so they go away. The spokes go away from the valve. You don't want to turn it like this, where it kind of goes towards it, because otherwise that'll mess up where your valve or your pump valve goes, and then it'll be hard to pump it up, which is never fun. So turn it this way. Try and show you. Turn it that way, and come on. Put the spoke will go. You're gonna wanna. But the outer spoke will go. It'll go. If it's 3 cross and 36 hole, it'll go over. Well, let's see. Over, and then the third spoke you're going to go under, and then attach it to the right nipple hole, and do the twisty nipples. Put more in, it'll start looking like this. Most important part for this is make sure you go over the first spoke, over the second spoke, see, over, and then under the third. That is, of course, for 36 hole and 3 cross. And just do that all the way around again. Make sure you twist the nipples on 3 turns. And it might help. This is why I use a screwdriver. You can use that and just count your turns. Make sure it's about the same. And yeah. Do that the whole way around. The reason I use a screwdriver is because sometimes when you get into these deeper walled rims, this is a single wall rim I'm just using to show you guys, is it's a little hard to, like, especially like this one, would be a little hard to turn with your fingers. But I mean, you can always go down here, but that's not always an option, so screwdriver is a good thing to have. And there you have it. That side's done, and now we get to move on to this side, which basically the same thing as what we just did. Drop the spoke in through the other side. Blah, blah, blah. Quick beat off. Blah, blah, blah. Over, under. Tighten the nipple and repeat what you just did all the way around. Also, a lot of times when doing this side, see how it pokes, this side pokes out more? It might be a little hard to get the spoke to make contact with the nipple. So what I usually do is, I can't show you because I need 2 hands to do this, but I push down on this, and then the spoke that you want to connect to the nipple, see it pops out. So now you can get a good grab on it and you can screw it in. And that side's done. And if you did it correctly, the valve hole should line up so you get your pump in there. All that's left to do is true it, but I'm not really going to elaborate on that too much because this is a how to lace wheel, not how to true. But basically, front wheels you can usually just put in your fork, spin it around, get an idea where it's bent. But before you do that, tighten all these down. Make sure you count your turns. Usually, I do about 5 or 6 turns. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with like a spoke wrench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the way around. And then usually in increments of 1 turn until things start getting a little tight. Then either a quarter or a half turn all the way around until everything's just about snug. Find a loose spoke. When they get to like all of them are like that, that's pretty good. That's when you want to start truing it, or when I usually start truing it. If it bends this, like if it's hitting out that way, you want to tighten the spokes in the area, the nipples in the area on the other side. And for up and down, if it's going like this, tighten the spokes in the area where it's hopping and loosen where it's not hopping. In increments of usually a quarter to half turn. The more turns you take, the more time you take on it, the better it'll come out. And once you're done, snug everything up, and these two spokes are pretty tight, so you want it to be about that much tension. You don't want it too tight or it can start pulling through the rim, which is never good. I believe that's it. So just true it up and she'll be ready to ride. Don't forget to beat off. Never ever forget to poop. And make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe this video, because I really, 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 really care about fake internet points. No, really, I do. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Blah, blah, blah. All that shit. And yeah. Thumbs up for dirty hands and wheel lacing.